This conference will now be
Hello,
recorded.
everyone, and welcome to the AnCan High Risk, Recurrent, and Advanced Prostate Cancer video chat for Tuesday, July 28, 2026. I'm Len Sierra, and I'll be moderating today along with Rick. And Dr. John is out sick tonight, but we all wish him well. And all of you here will also be assisting me. I'm sure you're all very well informed. As a reminder, this video chat is for informational purposes only. Nothing contained in this discussion should be construed as medical advice. We want to acknowledge and thank our sponsors, and they are Foundation Medicine, Novartis, Helix, and Blue Earth Diagnostics. All right, so we're going to start with Rick S. So we'll consider you a first-time attendee, Rick. And
thank you.
Would you care to give us your last name? You don't have to if you don't want to.
Oh, sure. It's Solzhen, S as in Sam, U-L, Z as in zebra, E-N as in Nancy, Solzhen.
All right. And how old are you, Rick?
70.
70. Are you a veteran?
No.
And where are you located?
Charlestown, West Virginia.
West Virginia. How did you learn about AnCan, Rick?
From my mentor with, what's it called? Zero cancer or something.
Rick, I lost track of where you are. Could you raise your hand?
Which Rick? He was on before.
Raise my hand. There it is.
There you go. There you go. Your camera's not on. Your camera was working, Rick, but it's not showing us anything right now. You see him? You see where the raised hand is, Len?
Can you see me? Can you see me now?
No.
I see your raised hand, but I don't see you.
I push camera and then it doesn't.
We saw you. I saw your face for a minute before, but
weird.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Okay. We'll do this in the dark.
Share camera. Is that working?
Yeah.
Yes.
There you go. You're
Okay.
seeing now. Okay. So who is your mentor that mentioned AnCan to you?
Ted Healy.
Oh yeah, blimey. Oh my gosh, we haven't heard it. We haven't heard it. Yeah, he used to live in Phoenix. He used to live in Portland, I think, and then he moved to the east.
No, he's in Portland now.
Oh, okay. Then he used to live on the East Coast, and he went to Portland.
Yeah,
that's right. I haven't heard from him for ages. Yep.
He's very active in.
Oh, great. Okay.
So Rick, how were you diagnosed and by what type of doctor? Was it a urologist?
Yes, urologist. That was last December. My PSA was through the roof, and she did a biopsy of my prostate and came back level 4 or whatever. I forget the terminology, but it was the highest number. And then
was it like 4 plus scan? 4 plus 4? 4 plus 5?
4 plus 5, yeah.
Okay.
And it metastasized. I'm not feeling, haven't had to do any radiation or chemo. I'm not feeling bad. Haven't had hot flashes. Just trouble peeing. I had to get a catheter for about 10 days because I couldn't pee. And Sometimes I wonder if I'm going to have to go back and get another one because it doesn't come out very easily.
So you said you haven't had chemo or radiation. Did you have surgery?
No, no surgery either.
Oh, nothing. So you're just on hormonal therapy.
Right.
And which drugs?
I'm on tamsulosin, which I think they call Flomax.
Yeah, yeah.
And prednisone, 5 milligrams, and finasteride, and abiraterone.
Okay. Are you on what we call an androgen deprivation drug?
Yeah.
Which one?
The abiraterone and the prednisone, I think, are the ones.
Well, we consider those second generation androgen receptor signaling. It's pretty complicated terminology, but anyway, what I mean is there any drug like Lupron or Eligard?
Oh yeah, I'm getting an Eligard shot. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
I'm talking about the pills I'm taking, and I forget about Eligard. Yeah, that's every 6 months. And they started giving me a bone strengthening injection also every 6 months.
Okay, was that denosumab, or I should say, was it Xgeva?
I don't know. I should have found that out, but I don't know.
Is Prolia given by injection?
They had to put in it.
Probably Prolia.
It wasn't an injection like the Eligard. They had to do a procedure to inject it.
Okay. So you mentioned something about the PSA through the roof. Now, how high was it?
It was up past 35. I'm not sure what the highest was. I think that might have been the highest. And the last they checked that I recall was down to 2.
Okay. That's after, how many injections of Eligard have you had?
I've had 2 now.
You had 2. And by the way, I'm sure Rick Davis will be wanting to tell you that you're probably better off on a 3-month Eligard injection rather than 6 months, because sometimes the drug level tails off on that last month.
Okay, I'll discuss that with my doctor.
Yeah, discuss it with your doctor.
Okay.
All right, so by the way, 35 is not really very high, especially not for members of this group. We've seen PSAs in the thousands, so
wow.
don't be discouraged by that.
Yeah.
Have they done any genetic testing?
No.
Okay, for someone with your disease characteristics, you should talk to your doctor about having genetic testing. If you have any actionable mutations, any cancer in the family.
My mother died of cancer in her uterus lining.
Okay.
Uterine cancer.
Any siblings?
I have 4 brothers. One died of heart attack. My father died of heart disease. My other brother died in an accident. So I have 2 living brothers.
Okay, so other than your mother, no other cancer in the immediate family? Okay.
Not that I know of.
So who is currently your primary caretaker? Like, I presume it would be a medical oncologist. Hopefully it is.
Dr. O'Brien at Winchester Oncology in Virginia.
Was that Hugh O'Brien?
think it's Leslie. I'm not sure.
Leslie O'Brien. Okay. Do you know if he specializes in prostate cancer? What we
Don't
would
know if she
say?
does or not. That'd be a good question to ask.
Okay.
Is she a medical oncologist or is she a urologist?
She's an oncologist.
Okay.
Okay, so you had the one PSMA PET scan back in, when was that, December?
Yeah, December, January. I think by the end of December I was fully
And you
diagnosed.
said there were metastases. How many and where were they?
Lymph nodes and bones.
Lymph nodes in the pelvic region or beyond the pelvic region?
Oh my, I don't know those details well enough.
Okay,
Right.
what about you know where the bone lesions were?
Some in my shoulder. I don't have all the details on that either,
Okay,
but there were several
that
places.
should be in your pathology report. If you get a chance, take a look at it. It should be in your patient portal. You can download it.
Okay.
Or just talk to your doctor about those details.
Yeah.
Let's see. So no other treatment so far other than the hormonal treatment and the bone strengthening agent and finasteride and tamsulosin.
Right.
How is your urination with those last two drugs? Is that helping?
It's on and off. Sometimes at night I'll only wake up once or twice, and the night before last it was like 7. There's a lot of retention, and you know I still got to go when I'm done, and then 15 minutes later more comes out. So it's
Now,
during the daytime sometimes too.
Did that condition exist before you were diagnosed?
No.
Okay. So did they find lesions in your prostate gland? I presume they did.
Yeah, when she did the biopsy, there were several. I don't remember how many out of the 12 samples that she took.
Can I just clarify something? Was Dr. O'Brien, did Dr. O'Brien do the biopsy?
No, that was done by my urologist.
Okay. Okay. Who was also a lady?
Yes, Dr. Bing.
Okay.
B-I-N-G.
Okay.
Did they mention anything regarding the difficulty urinating? Did they mention anything about a possible cancerous lesion obstructing the ureter?
No.
Okay. I would ask about that next time you see them.
Okay. I'm thinking of giving them a call and seeing if there's something of enough concern to go back in before November, my next appointment.
No, I think there's a few issues here, Len.
Go ahead, Rick.
When was the last time you had a PSMA scan?
PSA.
PSMA.
A scan?
Yeah, like you had one in January of this year. You said, have you had another one since?
Yeah, they were doing the PSA blood test.
No. We're talking about something called a PSMA PET scan. It's not a blood test.
They did one PET scan.
Only one. That's what I figured. Okay.
Yeah.
And when did they do that?
That was in December.
Okay. So my first thought, well, the first thought was what Len raised, which was we're not big fans of those 6-month shots.
Which one?
We're not big fans of the 6-month Eligard shots.
Got it.
Okay. Well, you would be better off. What type of insurance do you have? Are you on an Advantage plan or are you on a
No, I'm on Blue Cross Blue Shield.
Is that an Advantage plan or a Medigap plan?
Neither. It's a private insurance.
You're not on Medicare?
Oh,
But
no
you have
Medicare. No
Medicare underlying, right?
No Medicare at all.
You have no Medicare. Are you a were you a federal employee?
Yes.
Okay. So we have some experience with federal employees here in the room. I don't know the best combination, although people in the room may know the best combination for you. But it becomes important because we would like to see you with a specialized prostate cancer medical oncologist. And one of the reasons for that is because the medicine is moving so quickly in prostate cancer that we want to be sure that you're getting the right treatment. And for a number of reasons, we're not sure.
Okay.
And what would those reasons be? Well, first of all, they haven't done or discussed with you any spot radiation to your shoulder, or did they? And you decided you didn't want to.
I did see a radiation specialist. He said there was nothing indicated at this time.
Okay, but you have metastasis in your shoulder, correct?
Correct.
All right, so I think that we would say, well, if you have metastasis in your shoulder and you are T4, why are they not radiating it? That would be the first question. Second question, since you're metastatic, the guidelines require that you get a somatic analysis of your tumor. So that is not the inherited analysis we were talking before, but an analysis of what you have made. By the way, if your mom had uterine and you have prostate cancer, there is a connection there. There could be, you could have an inherited tumor.
Okay.
So there's a connection between uterine cancer and prostate cancer through certain mutations. So we want to rule those out. If we rule them in, it makes you eligible for certain other treatments. And your doctor should have known that, and they should have done it, but they didn't. So
genetic test?
That's the genetic test, and B, the genetic inherited test, which is called a germline test to see if you have an inherited cancer. And B, they should have done the somatic test. It's required in the guidelines, but they didn't do it. All right. Okay. Now, to do the somatic test, they probably today, they could either do it, since it's pretty recent, from your prostate biopsy, or they could biopsy the bone lesion, or they could biopsy the node, but it could be from any one of those three, or since your PSA you said is down to 2, is that correct? They could also do it from your blood.
Okay.
They could also do it from your blood, but after a year, we would be looking to see it down to less than 2.
Okay.
So that's another thing. The third thing we would like to talk about, so the spot radiation to your shoulder is a discussion. And the third thing that we would be discussing is, do we want to do radiation to your prostate, especially given that it seems like the hormone therapy is not getting rid of the tumors in the prostate because they're still giving you grief with your urination.
Right.
So what I guess we'd really like to see, Rick, is you making an appointment in DC at Sibley, which isn't hopefully too far, maybe an hour's drive or something like that, and seeing a doctor at Sibley that we were called Channing Palla, who we would recommend, because we're not sure that all of this treatment is sufficient for where you are.
Okay. Couldn't I ask my oncologist these things?
I beg your pardon?
Couldn't I ask my oncologist to do these things?
Well, you could, but your oncologists don't know, because if they knew, they would have done it. So this is why we're concerned. If your oncologist were on top of all of this, we would say, okay, well, you don't really need a prostate cancer oncologist. But a lot of times, oncologists in local community practices, they deal with so many different cancers, and they're not experts.
I see.
And what we want to do is move you to somebody who's an expert, because we're concerned that you're still having urination issues several months. We're concerned that you're getting a 6-month shot. We're concerned that they chose not to radiate your shoulder. I don't know the reasons for that. Could well be that it wasn't in an accessible place. I don't know. And I don't know, whatever else. They haven't done the somatic testing, which they should have done. They haven't done genetic testing, which they should have done. So, you know, we're sort of rolling up these issues that we feel are necessary as part of the basic care plan for a man with metastatic prostate cancer, because we don't want to see it get out of hand.
Right.
Let me ask you, I believe you said you had several bone lesions, right? Or was it just the one in the shoulder?
I think several.
But you don't know how many?
About 4 or 5, I think. My chiropractor is more gentle with me now because of that. Yeah.
So maybe they didn't spot radiate the shoulder, Rick, because he has more than 5 lesions, bone lesions.
But then if he has more than 5 bone lesions, why is he only on doublet? So here's the thing, that if you have more than 5 lesions, then we should be discussing whether the 2 drugs you're getting, I'm not talking about the urinary drugs, that's another issue, but the 2 hormone drugs that you're getting are sufficient, the abiraterone and the Eligard.
And the prednisone 5 milligrams is supposed to help with that also, right?
No, the reason you're taking the prednisone is because of the abiraterone. It's to help replace certain functions that the abiraterone is closing off.
Okay.
So if you stop the abiraterone, you would tail off the prednisone.
Okay.
But that's the only reason you're on the prednisone. Are you taking 5 milligrams in the morning and 5 milligrams in the evening?
No, just 5 milligrams in the morning or noon.
Okay, isn't that, Len, isn't that for metastatic? Is that right?
I know they ran the trials for metastatic, and they were giving 5 in the morning, 5 in the afternoon or
evening. Yeah, I think if
I always get Rick. Excuse me, Rick. Actually, at the beginning it was 10, but they dropped it down to 5 for the metastatic castration sensitive.
Right.
Castration resistant is 10.
Right. Okay. I was just going to say that I think it's 10 if you're resistant, 5 if you're sensitive. So that's fine. But there are, as you can hear, there's a whole number of issues here, Rick, and you know, we'd really like to get them straightened out. And
thank you.
And you're going to go into your local people and you're going to say, well, there's a whole things in the guidelines, I believe, that you haven't been doing, and I don't know what they're going to say. So, you know, I would say go get a second opinion. See what the second opinion says, talk to the second opinion as to whether you can work with both of them, but our biggest concern is that if you've got 5 or more lesions, which it sounds like you do because you've got bone lesions and you've got lymph lesions, I don't know that you're on sufficient treatment. The protocol might be to add more treatment, and you know, I don't want to scare you, but that treatment could be chemotherapy, which a lot of the guys here go through. And if you're not doing the chemotherapy, then we've got to ask, well, why aren't you doing the radiation?
Yeah.
Because if the radiation doctor is saying, no, I'm not going to do this because there's too many lesions, then we're saying, well, are you really on the right treatment? And you finish up getting undertreated, and that could have serious consequences.
Sure. Could I ask at my oncology center if there's a one that specializes in prostate cancer?
Well, they generally don't like to switch you from one oncologist to another within the same practice. You're probably better off going outside. And if you feel uncomfortable talking to your current oncologist about that, you don't really need to talk to them. Just get a second opinion from, I think somebody put some doctors' names in the chat box. Just, you know, whatever's convenient there for you to call one of those folks. Just ask them for a second opinion and take it from there.
I'm having trouble seeing the chat.
Okay, so the chat box are those 2 little squares. It looks like you're calling in on your phone or an iPad or something like that. There should be 2 little squares at the top next to the little figure where there's a 30. And if you tap that, it will open a box on the right, I think, on the right, and there'll be a whole bunch of stuff that's going on in there, comments, people suggesting things for you and what have you. I'm just about to put in the link for Channing Palla that Jim Marshall suggested earlier on, who's the doctor we would suggest you make an appointment with. And Jim Marshall, on that federal insurance, can Rick access Dr. Palla or not? How does that federal insurance work?
Blue Cross Blue Shield is primo, no problem at all.
Okay.
How do you spell Dr. Palla?
It's it's in the chat window for you right now. Paller.
Got it.
Okay. And if you click on that link or tap it, it'll open on your browser. You can look at it later. You don't have to copy it down.
Thank you.
And she knows us. She knows us very well. And I just want to answer Morgan Brook, who said, what's wrong with a 6-month shot? Our problem with a 6-month shot that we've seen here several times is that it may not release into the 6th month.
Got it.
So it can get used up early.
And so what do you do about that if you're on the 6th month? How you know what, to switch to 3-month at some point?
The way we've seen it is we've seen people's PSA rising in the 6th month. But the way to find out is you'd have to do monthly testosterone measures like Kaiser Permanente does. And then if you see the testosterone rising in the 6th month, you know that shot's not working in the 6th month.
Probably asked that question.
And so what we prefer is either a 3 or a 4-month shot maximum, or to go to Orgovix. Is Orgovix available, Jim Marshall, on a federal, on that Blue Cross?
On the Blue Cross Blue Shield, I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
So what you might want to do is talk to you could do this with your local docs right away. Tell them you know, well, you just got another shot, so you got 6 months to go. Forget it. So because you can't change right now anyway, but we would like to see you change to a pill as opposed to the shot.
Orgovix is a pill?
Orgovix is a daily pill. And again, you see, this is another problem, is that they probably never discussed that with you, which they could have done.
Right.
And they should have done, and they should have said, well, you know, we can give you a pill, or if your insurance will pay for it, or we can give you a shot. They did the easiest thing, which is to give you a 6-month shot, the laziest thing, to be honest. Because it isn't, you know, and the most profitable thing, because that's a very profitable shot. We try to push people towards the pill because we know it tends to work better.
Huh. Thank you for all this information.
Plus, with the history of cardiovascular disease in your family is another reason might be a good idea to switch to Orgovix.
Great point. Yes. Again, exactly, Len. Do you want to explain that, Len?
Yeah. So all of these drugs, which we call ADT, androgen deprivation therapy, and androgen deprivation drugs, can cause cardiovascular abnormalities. And when you have a history in the family of cardiovascular disease, it's even more likely that you might have that as a side effect. And so when you use a drug like Orgovix, it's less likely to cause cardiovascular side effects than the current drug you're on. It's a slightly different mechanism of action.
Okay.
Right, you know, talk to your doctor about it. They should be able to explain that.
Thank you.
Now, are there any other questions you have for us, Rick?
I have a lot of urgency. Like, I stand up and it's like, I got to get to the bathroom quick or I'm going to pee in my pants. And there was one situation where I couldn't hold it. I was in the car and it just let loose, and had the same thing happen once with my bowels.
Maybe we should go to Dr. Paul for that.
Yeah, well, Rick, you have a local situation going on, and there are a lot of questions I could ask. Whether you say you urinate a lot and you say you have retention, do you have a post-void residual assessment that's been done, and a flow rate and a cystoscopy to look at the anatomy of your outflow vis-a-vis the prostate and the urethra? And so there's a lot going on, we'll say, in the immediate prostate area that could be investigated further to make you more comfortable. And I presume your renal function is okay, namely your creatinine and BUN, because if you have retention, sometimes that's a problem. And Rick mentioned local radiation to the prostate. That can become problematic if you're having the symptoms you're having, but it also can obviate further growth in the prostate down the line so they don't recur. So I think your urologist hopefully has gone over some of that information with you.
No, I don't think any of that happened.
You had a catheter, you said, because you were in retention. Is that correct?
Yes.
And when it was removed, did they fill up your bladder, take the catheter out, and see how well you did?
No, she just said, drink a lot of water today.
Well, yeah. That works if you're flushing the system appropriately. Otherwise, it backs up.
Well, I haven't had the problem since.
Well,
catheter on for 10 days.
Yeah, but you're from the symptoms you're describing, you're on a delicate balance of potentially having that problem again.
Yes, I'm concerned about that.
We have some hands up. Carl, go ahead.
Yeah, Rick S., I sense that you're a bit overwhelmed here, and I can certainly understand that. It's like it's like learning a new language. I've been with this group for a bit now, and I assure you that Rick and Len and Paul and Jim Marshall and probably all these guys know their stuff inside and out and up and down and forward and backward. They've been doing this for a long, long time, and I've never questioned their advice. It always seems to be spot on. In my mind, for you to become comfortable, you're going to have to do a couple of things. First of all, you're really going to have to learn your own numbers. You're going to have to know what they are.
Okay.
And the second thing is that you have to become your own advocate. And if you try to work only within that system that you're in, Len made this point quite early on when he was talking, they're going to pass you around in that same system. They're going to try to keep you in that system. And that may not be the best thing for you. But if you keep coming to these meetings and you listen, it'll take time, but you're going to learn the language and you'll be much more comfortable with what's going on. And when you're more comfortable with what's going on and you understand that you're not hopeless, I'm in my mind anyway, you start to feel better about yourself and you'll get there. You'll get there, but trust these guys that they know what they're talking about.
Thank you. That's very encouraging.
All right. Thank you for that endorsement. And we'll go to Thomas Natika.
Excuse me, Glenn. I think Wes had his hand up.
Yeah,
Okay. So did Thomas
Natika had his hand up too. Jim Marshall.
Yeah. Wes
first.
and Tom.
Yeah, Thomas, you go first because you were there first. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. I thought Len said and gave some positive benefits to Orgovyx if there were some cardiac issues, but some time ago there was an email posted I think it was between Rick and Dr. John, and they were talking about how Orgovyx has been found to cause some cardiac issues and problems itself, having something to do with the QT interval. Do you recall any of that? I made a comment at that time that I thought, wow, this the Orgovyx thing has been kind of suggested as something very positive and not too many negative things. But then this issue with the QT interval and its own negative heart issues came up. Can you comment on that?
I do remember the discussion on the QT interval, but I honestly don't remember the details of it, Thomas, whether it was positive, negative, or the other. Maybe somebody else on here can help out with that.
Well, my recollection is that that there's something negative came up about the Orgovyx that made me at that time think, well, I've considered Orgovyx or switching off of my Firmagon and using Orgovyx. But then when this came up and the QT interval was brought up, I don't understand. It lengthened. I know it lengthened the QT interval, as I'm recalling here. So there was this negative aspect to it. So for myself, that kind of put the hold on wanting to switch to Orgovyx. But I do remember it as being a negative problem. And it sounds now.
Thomas, I just wanted to clarify that I did not say Orgovyx is beneficial for cardiac side effects. I just said it was the incidence of cardiac side effects is less with Orgovyx than it is with Eligard and Lupron.
Okay.
But maybe we should call on Dr. Pohl. I think he's the only, oh no, and Jack. Those are two MDs. Maybe they want to.
Oh, Jack, this should be on Jack's radar.
Okay.
Jack, do you remember anything about that QT interval and Orgovyx? Oh, Dr. Alfredo has his hand up too.
Yeah. QTC interval, QT, they're all prolongated, all Lupron, more so than Orgovyx, but they all work pretty much the same. You take them all long enough, you got to be followed with an electrocardiogram. Me personally, it was every 2 months I got an EKG when I was on those drugs to make sure there was no prolongation of the QTC.
Right. And if I remember, part of this discussion was that we had a guy go to Belusic for the first time, and he did an electrocardiogram, and it changed his treatment plans for the guy.
Right.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Jack. How about you, Dr. Alfredo? You want to weigh in?
Jack took the words right out of my mouth. I was word for word what I was going to say. But my thought here is that all the androgen deprivation therapies have an effect on QT interval, not just Orgovyx. I can't say that it's better or worse, but it's an issue. And so everybody on the screen should have a electrocardiogram at some point. I don't know whether it's every month, every 2 months, or every year. I would be uncomfortable if you went more than a year without an EKG. Jack, don't you agree?
Oh, and I remember Dr. Alfredo said it's the best value in the surgery. They're cheap and they tell you, they give you a lot of information. They're very inexpensive and it's a very good value test. Didn't you tell us that?
They're painless and they're non-invasive. So if your doctor says
there you go,
get an EKG, yes, that's very worthwhile. Yes. Absolutely.
There you go. So, Thomas, I don't think this was Orgovyx specific. I mean, that's sort of my memory. I would say to you, check with Dr. E, because she's gonna definitely be authoritative on that issue. I want to keep going because we've got a bunch of people. We've got another new man who I'm afraid, Bob Faulkner. We can try and take you at the end, or we can definitely take you next week, but we can't take you right now because we ask our new men to be here in the first 5 minutes of the meeting, and we've spent a bunch more time. We wouldn't have spent quite so much time with Rick. You have right. Wes, I think, wanted to say something.
He took his hand down. Okay, I'd like to go to Joel Blanchett and then Dr. Jack. Go ahead, Joel.
Yeah, thank you, Len. My last 7 months have been upside down for me. I quit my day job, which was a computer repair business. Also quit leading a US2 prostate cancer support group. And I moved to the Villages in Florida. And so I've been unpacking and setting up and getting new doctors and all kinds of things. I haven't really started working back again because I was still unpacking, because I had some stuff in Miami, South Beach, and I had some stuff in here in storage, and also in Reston, Virginia. So also in the middle of all this, I had my 2 cataracts fixed. And so that took me 3 months to heal. So I just went for a new prescription yesterday. So I should be all set on that. And I am seeing better. As far as on the prostate cancer front, we sent my doctor here in the Villages sent a request to Dr. Guan Chao back on 23 April. Neither of us have heard from her back. So I'm going to call her tomorrow and And if she can't handle me, I will do what Rick said to me last December. Go see Channing Paller in Virginia or Maryland. So that's what I'll do. I probably, the way it looks now, I'll be here most of the time. I'll probably spend 4 or 5 weeks in Northern Virginia. So I should be able to time my trips with appointments with Channing Paller. What I have done is I've taken the same complete blood test that Eleni Estatu used to give me, and I have 3 of those now. I've had doctors use the same exact blood test. I have a history there. What I don't have is a history of the Tempest test. And so I'm getting an oncologist down here, also in addition to possibly Dr. Guanchal, and to order that test for me. And then I will have the same stats, except for Channing, I'm sorry, Dr. Eleni Estatu used to give me a whole body MRI every year in Houston. And I haven't seen one of that in about 10 months now. So if any of you know of somebody, someplace where they offer a whole body MRI, I'd be glad to go and get one. So basically, that's where I am. So everything is sort of being put on hold for me for a while, but I'm starting to get back in things. I usually never miss a session of this group, and even if I miss one, I usually view it online afterwards. However, I must admit, since December, I've been so darn busy that I haven't had a chance to even view the ones online, but I intend to catch up to them eventually. So
2 things at once.
So yeah, I've been extremely busy, but it's slowing down for me now. I basically have completely unpacked by now, because I just moved out of Miami just 2 weeks ago, and because I had a condo.
Go to Pacific Supply. Oh well.
Want me to turn it off?
Where is that coming from?
We got it. I got it.
Okay.
So,
Joe, I'm not sure. Maybe I missed it, but what exactly makes you think that your prostate cancer has suddenly become an issue for you?
Oh, I don't think it has. According to my blood tests and my PSAs, I'm still no cancer showing up, and neither my testosterone is below 10. So according to my blood test, I'm okay. I'm feeling about the same. So I don't think the cancer has returned, but I just need a geomedical oncologist to make sure I'm covering all the bases.
Okay.
And are you on meds now, or are you not on meds?
Yeah, well, that's another thing that I'm concerned about. I have been going on 3 years now on Orgovyx and darolutamide. And the question is, how long can you stay on those meds? Has anybody here gone 4 or 5 years on them? And number 2, am I also killing my kidneys and liver by being on those drugs? So I'm concerned about that too.
Right.
So
that's a really good question, General. And I hope you didn't give up being a general as well in all of this.
No,
you didn't give that up. Good. Okay. So our experience over the years has been that you don't really want to stay on the same combination for too long. Probably 3 years is an outside. So you can drop one, you can drop the other, you can switch your second line anti-androgen, you can switch your ADT drug. There's a bunch of things you can do, but we've seen that when people stay on a combination for too long, the cancer gets too smart, and then we don't have a way to work around it. So we suggest that there should be a change up. Now, Dr. Guanchel is, did I say it right, Len? Did I say it right that time?
Yes, you did, sir. Yes, you did.
Thank you. Dr. Guanchel knows AnCan very well, and she knows Len Sierra very well, and she knows Bob Schwartz very well, and a bunch of the other guys who are sitting on this screen. So I don't see any reason why she would not see you. And if she does, and you let us know, we'll have one of our guys call her and say, Dr. Guanchel, you need to see the general because everybody loves him. And
I think I got the answer for that.
Oh, you okay? Go ahead,
Dr. Guanchel and her whole practice moved from Sarasota Center City to the Sarasota Memorial Hospital new cancer pavilion. So the whole office has been transferred. Everything's been up in the air, getting information out to patients that they moved and everything. It's been a little jumbled, I'll admit that. But General, if you call out, I'm sure, and I know I would use AnCan right away because she does have a lot of us there, and I make her aware every time I go there who I'm representing and who always talks good about her. So if you got a problem, call me directly. I'm being serious. And I know Len feels the same way, except my island brothers up in the New York area right now. So it'd be a long distance call for him. Mine, it's right down the street.
Right. Thank you.
Yeah.
And would you send, Bob Schwartz, would you send in a private message, would you send General Joel, your telephone number, please?
No problem, Rick. I'll do that right now.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rick.
And honestly, Joel, I think we'd rather see you with, I mean, since you're going to be spending 10 months out of 12 in Florida, as good as Dr. Palla is, so is Dr. Guanchel, and we'd much rather see you with somebody a little bit closer than Virginia if something happens.
All right.
And by the way, that move that Bob Schwartz mentioned for Dr. Guanchel is really a very short move. No, it's still within the city of Sarasota. But of course, it can cause a lot of confusion and lost telephone numbers and medical records. Who knows?
Yeah, it's caused confusion, but I'll tell you, Len, I don't know if you've been there. It is a fantastic location. It's beautiful. The parking's better. Everything's more nicer. And plus, it's right there at the main part of the hospital in Sarasota. It's phenomenal. The area down there is growing really nice.
Great. Glad to hear that. That would be a little bit easier for me to get to, so I'm happy to hear that. Okay, Dr. Jack, you are up.
Okay. I mentioned last week, being on a drug holiday, 17 months, almost 17 months in August, and after doublet therapy for 2 years, and having no scan in 3 years, and the last MRI total body scan I had was 3 years ago, and the last PET scan I had, PSMA PET scan. And since then, for whatever reason, Dr. Belusic and I decided, or we never even talked about getting rescanned. For a while, I was getting scanned so frequently, I was very concerned. Every possible scan, in addition to CT scan when I had some pulmonary issues that I was concerned about, and never a bone scan. So what I did is yesterday I saw my radiation oncologist. Dr. Belusic is over in Europe right now, and I said, can you write for a PSMA scan so I can get checked out and see whether or not there's any radiographic progression, in spite of the fact that my PSA is 0 and my testosterone is up to 64. So he had no problems with it, and I said, could you write it in such a way so Medicare could possibly approve it? And he said, sure, I'll do that, like he's done it before. And I then sent an email to Dr. Belusic that I was going to do this on August 18th when I got back from vacation. I got an immediate response back from him. He said, no, it's illogical. It makes no sense in your case for you to get a PSMA scan. First of all, we usually do that if we're suspicious somebody has no PSA and suspicious of a neuroendocrine kind of situation, which I'm not at all suspicious or concerned about with you. And you said, furthermore, if you did have that kind of an issue, it wouldn't show up on a PSMA scan. So if we do anything with you to follow it up, I'd rather do a total body MRI, for the bone marrow and see what's going on there. But that's not going to spot the whatever anything going on in your lymph nodes as likely as a CAT scan of the lung and the abdomen and whatever they do. So the thinking is I canceled it today, and I went ahead and I said, let's talk when you get back. And he's getting back after I get back. I'll see him on the 28th of August, and we're going to talk about it. There's no rush, no urgency. But I just wanted to discuss with you all, the reality of a person who's been on a drug holiday, indolent, post-prostatectomy, 23 years, and showing up 15 years later, and I mean, I guess anything can happen. But, I guess I've been living with hope that the possibility of this kind of a reoccurrence would be a slow one if it's going to happen again, rather than a rapid one that would be a radiographic progression preceding a PSA progression. So I was just being somewhat optimistic, and so was Belusic evidently. Otherwise, he would have pushed me to get something, or he just maybe likes me and has a blind spot. Who knows? God only knows why he didn't push it, and I certainly didn't push it. And I like the idea of not having it done. And it gave me whatever false sense of security or a real sense of security. I'm not sure. But that's the discussion. I'd like to have it briefly with you guys to see what your feedback is. And everything I'm reading, and I use open evidence a lot, and everything tells me whole body MRI, with diffusion weight imaging is really the substitute for bone marrow, for bone scans that are used, but certainly not as specific and as useful. And that would be my preference. And the PSMA scan, they felt probably would not get approved, but you could probably have it written accordingly. So can I get some feedback from you guys? I'd appreciate it.
My situation's not very different from yours. I'm 18 months on a drug holiday. PSA it's not undetectable, but it's about 0.07 or 8, something like that. Dr. O was not in favor of a PSMA PET scan. So he prefers a 6 to 8 months CT scan, chest, abdomen, pelvis. And you're probably familiar from our discussions here about the NCI trial playing the long game, where the oncologists at NCI think that if it's not showing up on a CT scan, under most circumstances, obviously if you have a rapidly rising PSA, it's a whole different situation. But in cases like yours and mine, where the PSA is low, it's barely moving, they don't think that there's any concern. Wait till you see something on the CT scan before you decide, in the absence of symptoms, before you decide on a PSMA PET scan. You might just get unnecessarily anxious about the PSMA PET might be showing something that's not going to be clinically significant. So that's my viewpoint. Anybody else?
Right after the order.
Dr. Alfredo has his hand up.
Yeah.
Head Alfredo.
I guess I'll go next. The first and most important thing I want to say is, Jack, it's a support group. You have my support 10,000% on what you just said. I think you're exactly on the right track. But I think it raises a generic issue for everybody to think about. And I've talked to a lot of people in the last year who feel that they're old enough to say, I don't want anything. I don't want treatment. I don't want diagnostic tests. I don't want a workup. I'm thinking of one guy in particular in Seattle who said, I'm 80-something years old. I feel pretty good. I've traveled around the world. I've got great-grandchildren. He's actually a retired surgeon. He says, you know what, Alfredo? I think I'm just going to have another glass of Cabernet. And so he's not having MRI scans. He's not having PET scans. And I cannot fault him. I cannot find fault for that. Now, Jack, of course, you are passing what I always thought was the most important thing in clinical medicine, which I call the eyeball test. You look great. You look marvelous. And that's the most important thing when I walk in the room and see a patient. So in your case, maybe you want some more tests and maybe you would endure some more treatment. Right. But I think everything you said is right on. That's all I want to say.
Right. And so I'd like to do a quick check within the group because we have another expert in the group who has to make this decision. Dr. Paul, what about you with these tests? What's your thinking?
I like the Dr. Alfredo's pathway with regard to quality of life and enjoying at the age that I am and that Jack is, because, and there are more studies now that really confirm that as men or anybody gets into a certain age group, quality beats quantity in some aspects. But again, it's a personal decision, but it's one that I think men and women should contemplate more as to how much they want to push their body for how much more time at the expense of some significant adverse events.
Yeah, makes sense. The only reason I would
what do you think, Jack?
The reason I would do the testing is for spot radiation, and you know the possibility if something shows up, some bony, either reoccurrence or a new bony lesion, or perhaps those subcarinal lymph nodes pop up and they show some positivity or something like that. I'd like it to be zapped again and give me a little more, hope that I could stretch it out a little longer. I do have some longevity. My mother made it to 101. That makes me a little bit of a benchmark there, although my dad only made it to 85, so I've gone almost 2 years beyond him. So, I'd like to go as long as possible. So that's the only reason that I would pursue it rather than say, screw it. I'm just going to enjoy life, which I'm doing the best I can anyway to do. But the testing is more designed for spot radiation if necessary. I wouldn't go back on ADT. No, I will not do that again. Too much of an assault on my heart. And if I did anything, I would do what you're doing. I would do some E2 if I really, got back up there with my PSA.
Okay, thank you, Jack. And thank everybody else who contributed. And we'll go to Jeff next.
Thank you.
Well, I had an AUS installed on June 4th, and it actually, I went in at 9, and by 12:30 I was heading home. They put me under, and I went away, woke up and ready to leave. The only problem with it is that there's a bunch of stitches.
Jeff, just for a second, can you explain what an AUS is? Because there may be men on this call who might not know that terminology.
If you have incontinence and it just doesn't stop, and you can walk around with a pad for a couple hours and fill it, you want to do something about it. An AUS, an artificial urinary sphincter, is a device they put inside your body, which they put a cuff around your urethra, and the sphincter releases that cuff when you press a bulb and allows you to pee, and then locks back up. And in my case, it gave me 100% continence. The surgery, they put a bunch of stitches in your perineum, which make it very hard to sit down for a few, 2 or 3 weeks. But what I did was I took a real thick towel and rolled it up, and then bent it into a circle, and I was able to sit down on that with the open end of the circle pointing forward, and it relieved the problem of sitting down. So I actually they do another incision in your stomach and put in the bulb that controls the cuff releasing, and on the perineum they've got this, your urethra is down there, and they've got this cuff around it, which it's a metal ring that closes down completely. Now the thing is, if you ride a bike and you press down on that, it can cause problems with leaking. It can damage it. You just have to ask your doctor about it. But the same as riding a horse could be a problem. On July 10th, 5 weeks later, they activated it, and it worked perfectly. I was completely continent. There are a couple things in your scrotum. There's this little bulb you have to press in order to pee, and it automatically, after about 30 seconds, it closes down. And so if you get up in the morning and you have to pee, usually you have to do a lot. I've had to press it as many as 4 times to finish peeing. So it's a little inconvenient, but it's not a real major issue. It's so great. I wore black pants for like 6 years. I could only wear black pants because I never knew what was going to happen. And now I can wear anything. I don't have to worry about it. I laying down, I didn't have a problem, but if I coughed or I sneezed, I leak, and there's just nothing anymore. I had a great doctor who's done my oncologist told me that she was an artist, and she was really great job. And she works for Kaiser, but she also does outside. She does it outside of Kaiser, so just about anybody could go to her. It just changes your life, not having to worry about what's going to happen walking around. And I'm sure glad I did it, but I figured I'd at least let you people know what it's like to have one of those put in.
Thank you for sharing. I'm glad it was a good experience. I'm just curious. What was that?
I said it's a great trade-off. I would have done the same thing.
Yeah, sure. Just wondering, Dr. Paul, do you have any idea what the success rate is of AUS? Is it usually as successful for Jeff as it is for others?
Yes. I mean, it started back in the mid-1970s. Interesting, a urologist in Texas who was a real, we'll say, gadgeteer. He also was a pilot, and so was very aerodynamically and fluid dynamically savvy. Brought it into existence as one of the first, we'll say, instruments that inserted in the urinary tract. And now it's done frequently with great success. I'm not going to say it's 95, 97, but it's in the mid to high 90s, and it can be repaired. Sometimes it has to be readjusted because as time goes on, the cylinder, which is a fluid-filled cylinder around the urethra, tends to cause some atrophy of the urethral tube, and so the space gets a little bit less compliant, and you may have to put in a new circumferential cylinder, and redos are done very aptly. So it's a great invention and sure makes life happier for the incontinent male.
Great, thank you. Didn't Dr. John have issues with his AUS, Rick, or am I thinking of someone else?
Yeah, he mentioned to me.
It gave him a lot of pain.
And
it gave him.
When they turned it on, too. When they turned it on, not only after having it put in, he said it felt like having razor blades inside of him after they put it in, and it was really painful.
He had pain. Jimmy has one, and so
Okay. We're going to move on to Wes in San Diego.
Great, thanks, guys. I think the first interviewee is gone, but I concur with what was said. Coming in, I haven't seen you guys in 6 months. Wow, you are thorough. hopefully he won't be scared off and will go do his homework. So some people know my background, some don't. I'll put a link in the chat that is a video that I had done at the UCSD Prostate Summit. So it sort of does 7 minutes of me and my impressions. Short answer, I'm 73. My grandfather died of prostate cancer at 83. My father had it at 72. I was diagnosed a year and a half ago because of a rising PSA, not much, but it was up around. Had biopsy that identified something on the order of 8 out of 14 with cribriform and interductal. Shifted at the suggestion of this group from my Scripps Clinic people in San Diego over to UCSD. That was one of the better moves I've made in my life. I really appreciate that advice. They're outstanding. In retrospect, I got outstanding care from you guys and from the various people at UCSD. So went and had 25 days of, eventually, after having done a lot of homework, I had a implant that separates the rectum from the prostate. Can't recall what it's called. That I would think ought to be routine. Seems to solve some of the incontinence issues from radiation. So in any case, I had 25 days of radiation. Then I went on Orgovyx for a little while for all the things that we just got done talking about, because I had some cardiac issues and I wanted to minimize it. And I wanted to be able to change horses. I'd forgotten about the half-life issue. Wanted to change horses and get off of it as fast as possible, because I think medicine is really well done if you don't overdo it. So in any case, I shifted over to Firmagon, which is a remarkably quaint name, which manages to really decrease all erections and every desire for erection remarkably effectively. So I was on that till about, I think, February. I've been off of it, and if you do the math on a 53-day half-life, I'm down to a little less than 10%. So and I feel much better because of it. The androgen deprivation therapy, I guess, is useful in some medieval way, but boy, does it change things. Presumably is useful enough, but I concur with people who shy away from doing it. I do understand why. My PSA now is 0.22. My testosterone is 51. Because I had aggressive prostate cancer, type of prostate cancer, it wouldn't surprise me if it comes back in some fashion. So, and because I'm 73, if I live to my expected date of death of 86, wouldn't surprise me if it comes back. So then the question is, what would prompt me to do more tests? I'll be on blood work probably every 3 months, I imagine. And otherwise, I really appreciate all the advice. I think everybody did their great work, and I'm stable now for the foreseeable future.
Wes, first thing I'd like to say is I'd be a little concerned about your testosterone being at 51 when you're on Firmagon. That's not very well.
No, that is off of it. So no, it dropped to 30. So the lowest value at the end of 6-7 months was 30.
Okay, it usually goes lower than that, but
yeah.
All
Take
right.
your money, take your chances, but
okay. So I'm sorry, did you have a specific question for us?
Not really. I just wanted to, I apologize for not giving an update earlier because I was an active participant as I was learning. So this is just sort of a thank you to you guys, and like your question, what your take would be on a testosterone of 51, which is going to rise in some fashion.
So there's a couple of things I'd say to you, Wes. First of all, great to see you again, and I'm glad you got through all your treatment. But I wouldn't be counting on the half-life to explain how your testosterone is going to come back. And I think Dr. Paul might have something to say about that, because I think he's probably seen many, many, many patients who came off of their ADT, and it took quite a while. I don't know how long. I mean, the old rule that I heard many years ago was it takes twice as long as the time that you're on it. It's also a function of your age. So that's another factor. I mean, in my case, I was on for 28 months, and but I was young when I took it. I was 50. I was under 60 when I finished it, and it probably took about a year for it to come back. But I don't want you to be thinking that because the half-life, because there was a whole discussion earlier on in the chat window about half-lives, and I just don't think it means very much when it comes to recovering from the side effects of ADT. E2 may be a whole different ball game. Don't know, but there again, if you're on E2, you don't lose your testosterone. So, Dr. Paul, what do you got to say on this one?
Recovery is very variable, and you put it well. It depends a bit on age and testicular health when you start, which is not a well-known factor to assess. As we know, our testosterone levels are quite variable within ourselves and between individuals. So what you said is appropriate. Now, remember, E drops T equally as well as the LHRH analogs. That's why it's called androgen deprivation therapy, and that's why it works. So we gotta, you said it doesn't affect the T, it does.
So the only other thing I would observe, and this came from my son, who, if you know why I wanted to do a lot of homework, my brother's 9 years younger, my son is 37, and we had 3 data points in our family, so I wanted them to be well aware of what they could do. And so I had my son have his PSA tested, and he was pleased to hear that the Navy now systemically is going to have human advisors for medical, not necessarily MDs, but in each squadron for testosterone and so forth. So I'm hopeful that that will become part of a routine thing, not just for him to figure out where he is before all of a sudden he hits 50 and has a surprise.
All right. Wes, is it okay with you if we move on? We've got quite a few guys to get through yet.
No, very, very well done. Thanks much, guys.
Thank you. And we'll go to John McPhee.
This may have been beaten to death already, but statins. One of the side effects is muscle weakness. One of the side effects of getting old is muscle weakness. One of the side effects of hormone therapy is muscle weakness. And there's this talk of you're either going to die of prostate cancer or we put you on ADT and you die of a heart attack. I apparently have had a silent heart attack. And when I was getting scans done for the prostate cancer, they all came back and said, "Oh, he's got stuff in his arteries." And nobody blinked until I said, "Is this not something that should be looked at?" And so they did. And the heart doctor put me on 20 milligrams and my GP put me on 10. But then after a while, the negative stuff you get on the internet, I said, "Oh, to hell with it." And I took it off and my GP didn't blink. He just said, "Oh, okay." And I've been advised to go back on now. Any comment on statins? Like, are they good, or is this just what I hear is it's kind of like, yeah, they're 1 in a million, they help, and but it's making a lot of money for the medical or the drug companies. Something I want to do.
Rick, go ahead.
I've been on statins since 1986. I'm on a pretty low dose. I can never remember if it's 5 or 10, because I'm on a blood pressure medicine. One's 10 and one's 5, but it's very low dose. I'm now taking rosuvastatin. Never really had any bad side effects. I started taking it because I had a really bad history of heart disease in my family, and I had very high cholesterol levels, but part of that was because I had exceptionally high good cholesterol levels. So they were like up over 100, 105. So it pushed the whole thing up. All of that said, I've never had a problem. And there are some doctors, Dr. Alfredo will probably have a comment on this. There are some doctors who think every man should be on statins and blood pressure medicine. So, you know, I can't account for your doc. I'm more intrigued by the fact that you had heart issues and a heart attack and you never knew. That's very intriguing to me. Unfortunately, Dr. John's not with us today, but we would say make sure you join you get onto our prostate cardio list. Let me know and we'll put you on. And I think we have a meeting next week. We're setting up a new heart group, but right now it's just the prostate cardio guys who are on there. So Dr. Alfredo, what's your take on statins and blood pressure medicines?
Well, my colleagues may remember that when statins came on the market, there was serious discussion about putting it in the drinking water along with fluoride. And I guess that didn't happen. Probably a good thing that it didn't happen. I don't think everybody needs to be on statins. On the other hand, a silent MI, you begin to wonder, why did this person have this heart attack? And you might be looking around. Did you say what your cholesterol was?
Oh, I didn't.
So I think a good internist cardiologist would say, I'd really like to find out what caused this heart attack. I might not be able to tell. I couldn't fault the doctor for putting him on statins, but I don't think every man should be on it.
It's in Canadian units, and it's 7.09. I don't know, million moles per liter. Ooh. Something just rebooted.
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
Yeah, I had that too. I thought it was just me.
Okay, it's 7.09, and that's high, and they want it to be less than 5.2. So
yeah, I'm looking it up. That's your LDL cholesterol, or your total.
No, that's my cholesterol total.
Total, okay.
LDL is 451, and I want it less than 350.
I'm surprised nobody's jumped on and done the calculation yet. Everybody's going to sleep.
I'm trying to do it. I don't know why my computer.
No, you have to convert. I just put in 7. What was it? 7.2.
7.0. The cholesterol is 7.09.
7.09.
I just converted it. That's equivalent to 274 milligrams per deciliter.
Okay, so that's
high cholesterol, and I think
that's high cholesterol.
Yes. A lot of doctors would say, "Oh, you're right, you're going on a statin." But now, on the other hand, I should mention, for the benefit of everybody in the group, not everybody tolerates statins. There are some percentage of the population that have bad side effects.
Yeah.
And often those side effects show up in the first week. My wife is one of those people, as it turns out. And luckily, in more recent years, they've invented an alternative to statins that seem to work quite well. They're called PCSK9 inhibitors. Sorry for the complicated name, but they're once every 2-week injection or once a month injection. And they work pretty well. But I would not fault a doctor who looked at cholesterol of 274 in American units and said, I want you on a statin.
Okay.
I just looked up the conversion equation, 38.67 times whatever you got, 7.8. So for the future, just multiply times 38.67. It comes out 302. That's very high. So as Dr. Alfredo said.
Yeah, just so everybody knows this resource, particularly our Canadian friends, I went to a website that's called calculator.academy. Calculator.academy. It converts everything to everything. So that's how I got that number.
Right. And, you know, the other thing to consider in this conversation is that what we might be able to access in Canada as alternatives to access in the US as alternatives to statins probably is not available in Canada, I'm guessing. So.
I asked you whether are you taking a baby aspirin?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right.
Okay.
But yes, let me just say, John McPhee, if it were me, I'd be wanting to get my total cholesterol down. And, you know, I've always worked on what's called the ratio, which is the total divided by the high. And you really want that to be certainly under 4 and, you know, even lower than 3. That's always been my personal guideline, but maybe doctors would disagree with that now. But that's one thing to be looking at, that, you know, total is fine. But if you're somebody like me who has very, very high good cholesterol, then it isn't always a good guide.
And Rick Davis, you are the next.
Oh, I am. Did you want to say anything, John, to finish this off?
Nope, that's okay. I'm on rosuvastatin like you, and you know, one of the side effects of statin is muscle weakness, but that's a side effect of everything. Like I said, old age, hormone therapy.
Yeah, I wouldn't tie. I don't even think about tying statins into your muscle weakness. You know, I think for people like us, it's irrelevant. Good athletes, we've always been athletes. I think it's irrelevant. If you told me you had cramps, night cramps or leg cramps, I'd say, yeah, that could be. I have that. I do something about it. But don't even, for us, I wouldn't even think about side effects of statins as muscle fatigue having anything to do with us feeling tired when we're on ADT treatment. That's my or hormone therapy treatment, I should say. So that's my gut. I have a very quick question. Is anybody here on mirabegron, which has the trade name Myrbetriq? Are you Jeff? Any side effects that you've noticed from the mirabegron?
I've been on it for about 1.5 years, mirabegron. It helps with incontinence and urgency.
Right. Any side effects?
Nothing I noticed. I have heard from maybe one person that they had side effects from it, but I've heard of a number of people that have said no problems.
And what side effects were they?
I do not recall exactly what it was.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay, because I've had somebody report to me recently that they were having some dizziness and balance issues from it. And I said I would just ask to see if there was any experience in our group. But
was that with 25 milligrams?
I don't know.
Oh,
I didn't ask for the dosage.
Yeah, I take that 25 twice a day. But
okay.
All right. Yeah, I have heard other people, at least one person, say they had an issue with it.
Okay.
And that might have been it.
That's it. You can move on.
Okay, we're going to the other Rick, Rick S.
Oh no, we said not Rick S. Rick S was a new person then at the beginning.
Oh, okay, so he's going to be either at the end or next week.
No. We spoke to Rick S. for the first 45 minutes.
Sorry. Oh, yeah, that's right, a long time. I forgot. Okay, how about David Muslin?
Oh,
okay.
Yes.
David Muslin was supposed to be at UCLA being injected with Pluvicto yesterday. However, I had a kidney stone, decided it needed more attention than that, so I ended up in the hospital Saturday night and Sunday having a freaking kidney stone removed, and I'm now going next Thursday to be infused with my first cycle of Pluvicto.
Oh, well, sorry to hear that, David, but at least it sounds like you're back on track for the trial.
Track, yeah. The biggest thing that's worrying me is, that did a PSMA PET scan in mid-May and haven't done anything up until next week. So I'm just a little nervous about it, leaving it out there untreated, but been there before. I guess it'll happen again in a couple months. I don't think you're going to make a difference. But that's me talking sense to myself.
Okay, well, good luck with the trial.
Thanks.
Thomas Matika. Yes, you are up, Thomas.
Yeah, I'm here. I did have, I mentioned this before in a previous meeting that I had my second PSMA PET scan recently, a few weeks ago. The first one was 3 years before that. And the first one, it really lit up. It was the first one I had, and it looked pretty bad. It read pretty bad to me. And my second one here, it read like I didn't even have cancer at all. It was really good. I talked to Dr. E about it, and I said there was a lot of no's on here. No. She said no's are good. That's what we like to see. No, and so that was well appreciated by me. And then she this is a terminology confusion that I have. She said, and this word has been used many times here. She said that I am in remission, and I know that doesn't mean I'm cured or there's no cancer or anything like that. But it was. She made a real point about that. Like she wanted me to really take that in as to where I'm at in my treatment. And we have a plan too. This is a really, really great thing with Dr. E. She laid out a lot of other things that we're going to do, or we're going to wait and see for certain things. And there's a whole she has a whole strategy around this. And that was a real, I really appreciated her way of doing things with me. And one of the things she wanted me to do was to have because I had been recently diagnosed with AFib at the beginning of the year, and I had a heart rate monitor on a couple of times, 2 weeks, 4 weeks, etc. And she did say, she brought that up, and she said she wanted me to have a CAC, that cardio calcium score test done. But I've done a little bit of research on that, and there seems to be limitations to that test. Whereas what I read was that that test can only show the hard plaque, the calcified plaque, the hard plaque. It doesn't really show the soft plaque. There's another test for that called a CMIT, a carotid intima media thickness test, and that's more or less an ultrasound of your throat as a reference for any soft plaque that you might have. And then also there's something called a CT angiogram.
Okay, Thomas, I'm going to interrupt you.
Yeah.
we're not a heart group.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think that what you're saying is is valuable, but that really belongs in Dr. John's heart group or on the ProsCard discussion, because we don't have the expertise in cardio, and we're not here really to support you on cardio issues. We don't have that knowledge. So that's why we created the ProsCard group and why we've created a heart group. So I would encourage you strongly to attend Dr. John's meeting on the 5th, August the 5th, and to have this discussion on Dr. John's on Dr. John's session, if that's okay by you.
Well, Rick, that's fine with me. I am planning on attending that, and I concur with your decision here. I'm not in any kind of dire need for this information. I'll go to the heart group and bring it up over there.
Please do, because you'll get more information. The other thing is, we're really happy that your PSMA is negative. That's fantastic. We love that news.
Yeah, me too.
Okay.
And Thomas, are you currently on treatment or you're on drug holiday?
No, Dr. E's words, I'm on cruise control. I'm maintaining my Firmagon and darolutamide treatments, and I'm going to meet with her again in 3 months.
See, now, I would like to get the opinion of the MDs here, because I don't think that your doctor should be telling you you're in remission because you're on treatment. Maybe I'm wrong, but I thought if you were in remission, if you had stopped treatment and your disease is stable or non-detectable. Any of the MDs want to weigh in on that?
Len, that's what I thought too. That's why I brought that word up. Okay, what do they think?
Well, let's see what they have to say. I could be wrong. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'll just say it's semantics of sort. I don't know a clear definition to distinguish remission on therapy with regard versus remission off therapy and remission versus control. I don't know clear definitions to make a statement.
Okay. Thank you. Anybody else? Alfredo, is he still with us?
Yeah, I'll just say, I've never liked the word remission, and others here may totally disagree with me, and that's fine, but I got into the habit of saying to every patient, look, no matter what we do, there will never be fewer than 11 cancer cells in your body. It won't be 0, ever. So the issue is, what's going to happen? Are those 11 going to become 11 million? I don't know. It could happen. Any cancer can recur. I don't even want to use the word common. Many cancers do recur. And for every type, we could look it up what the percentage is. Obviously, in this group, we see people with recurrent disease 10, 15 years later. So I don't like the word remission because it implies a kind of permanence that I don't think is realistic.
Yeah, but we talk about partial remission, and the word is used frequently, even though there isn't complete obliteration of symptoms or disease parameters. So I think it has nothing to do with absolute cure or anything like that. It has to do with it's not present right now. It's not visible. It's not measurable, and that's all there is to it, a remission. Yeah. And I don't think it has to do with whether or not one is in treatment or without treatment. I think it just it's a word that's used, outside of the medical purview also, remission.
Okay, fair enough.
If Dr. Paul agrees, I'm happy.
Yeah, agreed.
And Dr. Paul, we now arrive at you. You wanted time tonight.
Yeah, just a quick rundown of what I have been advised and decided upon. Just a quick update. I had a radical prostatectomy in the year 2000 and had multiple therapies through to the present. Let's start January of 25. So about 18 months ago, I had a PSMA PET scan that showed liver, bone, and liver metastases. And I began a course of Pluvicto. My PSA at the time was 160. I began a course of Pluvicto and had a remarkable PSA response after 3 infusions down to 1, so 160 to 1. And I was advised to hold the fort and save the other 3 for a future date because they would be necessary sometime in the future. A repeat PSMA PET, except for a few scattered bone abnormalities, showed resolution of the liver, the lymph nodes, and most of the bone. Now, so my last PSA PET was about 2 months ago when my PSA was 10, and it showed some recurrent bone lesions, a few very small lymph nodes, no liver, thankfully. What was problematic was 2 lesions in the skull, very proximate to the cranial nerve exit routes from the brain to the periphery. And the question was, should they be radiated with SBRT and then follow with the next 3 Pluvictos, and how, or, well, what order should things be done? And there was varying opinion, but when it came to the push versus shove decision, the worry is with regard to neural toxicity of those cranial nerves and the fact that SBRT followed by Pluvicto in those rather critical areas, not yet clear how the 2 radiation sources tally up for a dangerous type of side effect, neuritis. So under the first do no harm principle, going to proceed with the Pluvicto and hold the SBRT. And so that's just an update and a plan. And any comments? Welcome.
Yes, Paul. I just wonder, have you talked to your radiation oncologist? This seems like a perfect case for proton rather than SBRT because of the, the focal beam that can be more precise than SBRT, which is sort of wide and diffuse compared to proton.
That's a good point. Certainly, the point that they made with either to sterilize the dose, the sterilization dose still leaves the potential for some residual cancer that then the PSMA, the lutetium would dock to. And absent any symptoms currently, they didn't want to deliver any symptoms, so to speak. And we're not talking about curative therapy. We're talking about delaying and quality of life. And so the balance comes to that decision.
So, Paul, I'd like to know what led up to that 160 PSA revelation. Were you aware that it was going up all along?
No, that's very, very important point that would stir people's thoughts as to say, what the hell was he thinking and doing? Well, my PSA doubling time, I had gone through metastases-directed therapy, Provenge, BAT, virtually everything that was available except docetaxel. And I wanted to avoid that. And my PSA doubling time was extraordinarily slow, so greater than a year. So over 5 years, it took me to go from 20 to 160. And so I was playing the kind of first do no harm waiting game, recognizing the potential dangers of that, but also knowing the pros and cons. So letting it to go to 160 was based on the very long doubling time, which was, you would say, was a cancer at the time that wasn't on pace to do me in.
Okay, very interesting.
It is. But what's even more interesting is having the fortitude to tolerate a PSA of 160. I don't know that we have too many men who would allow it to get that high before treating. That's amazing.
I wouldn't advise it, and I would not have directed a patient to that, but I just put all, say, the pros and cons in the basket. I was feeling well. I had repetitive PSMA PETs that showed, yes, I had a few lymph nodes that got a little bigger, and I had some bone that got a little more numerous, but I was asymptomatic, and I didn't have any evidence that treating them now versus later was going to make much of a difference, and the pace of the disease was slow. And I'm 86. I've got cardiac disease. I have 11 stents. I mean, my focus is on functioning and feeling well and doing everything to prohibit or avoiding anything that was going to interfere with that. But now, right. I mean, now I'm going to get my next 3 Pluvictos and hope for the best.
Well, I'm going to take this opportunity to correct an error that I made and to tell everybody that you can get another very healthy, beneficial dose of Dr. Shellhammer on August the 20th. I apologize for putting Friday, August 15th in the reminder. That actually came from somebody on the UCSF side who confused me. It will be corrected in the next reminder. It was corrected in the one that went out this morning to those who hadn't opened. But we are going to have, I shouldn't say we, because we don't really have anything to do with it, UCSF Prostate Cancer Patients Journal Club is going to have a discussion about the Patches study, which is the study that came out of the UK finding that estradiol was non-inferior. And that is going to be with 2 of the UK docs. One is a uro-oncologist, and I suspect Judith Langley is a GU medical oncologist. I think she's at Marsden, but I'm not 100% sure about that. And the discussant is our very own Dr. Paul Shellhammer. And this is available to everybody. So I think it's at, I can't remember what time. I think it's at noon Eastern, 9 o'clock Pacific. And we'd love to see you all there, and bring your hardest questions for Dr. Paul. The only thing that I will say, and I've commented on this to Dr. Paul and also to Bruce Zweig, who's one of the organizers, is that the title is ADT or estradiol, what's best for you? And when I looked at the doctors who were there was no American genitourinary medical oncologist. And most of our people who are here are taking this estradiol discussion to their GU medical oncologist, because if they're attending this group, most of them have a GU medical oncologist. And I'm thinking, who the hell's going to respond on behalf of the American medical oncologist? So I think that I'm hoping that that's been addressed. And my understanding is that Rohit, what's his last name? Mohan? I forget his last name. Rohit. He's one of the UCSF GU medoncs will be there.
Well, it's an hour. My discussion is 5 minutes. So basically, I'm going to tell my story, and you guys have already heard it. But that's the drill. And it's interesting that you say estradiol or ADT. And that's a concept that has to be revised, because estradiol is ADT. It's just another pathway to that end. And it isn't kind of ADT versus estradiol. It's LHRH analog ADT versus estradiol ADT. So yeah, it sounds like a minor point, but we don't want patients to think that, oh, this isn't androgen deprivation. It is. We want to drive the T down to castrate.
I don't disagree with you, but I think that was the title, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, I'm pointing it out that it in the flux of verbiage, things get kind of mixed up sometimes.
Yes, I love it. Rohit Bose, BOSE. Rohit Bose is the doc that's that they think, and the reason why, because we had suggested Dr. Agarwal, is that Bruce said to me, I don't know if Dr. Agarwal prescribes E2, but I think Dr. Bose does. So we said, well, that'd be perfect then. So, and I do know that Bose is, he's now the GU medical oncologist that attends the San Francisco VA. So, so there you go.
One other question I have, Dr. Paul. You said you have heart disease. Sounds like probably a fairly long history of it. Did you switch to estradiol patches because of the heart disease you had in place already, or did the cardiac effects post-date the start of estradiol?
No, the cardiac predated my prostate cancer surgery. And I switched to transdermal estradiol because at the time when you failed, quotes unquotes, or when LHRH failed you, there wasn't anything to do at the time. Docetaxel in 2008 had just been coming onto the scene and was approved, but it wasn't attractive. So I was basically looking for another avenue of therapy, and it was without being a physician and a urologist and having some ability to know what was going on, I would have never latched on to transdermal estradiol almost 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Who tipped you off on that? I mean, did you do that all on your own? Did you have somebody who touted it for you?
No, I did it. I mean, there were only a few papers coming from the UK by a gentleman, Paul Abel, the urologist, who had this idea. Estrogen worked very well in the veterans trial. It just, with regard to cancer control, it was just overwhelmed by the thromboembolic and cardiovascular toxicity. And if you could avoid that, which you could by avoiding the enterohepatic circulation and delivering it transdermally and not orally, you would get the win of estrogen cancer.
I think he froze.
You froze.
Yeah. Maybe he'll come back. It is 1 minute past the hour. Should we wait for Dr. Paul to come back or just close it out?
No, we can wait a couple of minutes. There's no reason not to. You have to go, I know. Is there anybody that we haven't gotten to yet? Ben?
Yeah, I'm going to drop off, Rick, and I'd appreciate it if Dr. Paul comes back, if someone asks him why he thinks that American oncologists are so resistant to estradiol therapy.
Yeah, great question. Is there anybody we haven't gotten to yet?
Not on my list.
Not on your list. Okay.
So, you haven't gotten to me, but I just got here. Now,
yes, I just sent you a message, Dr. Bill. This meeting starts at 3 o'clock on Tuesday. Our Tuesday meetings start at 3 o'clock. Our Monday meetings start 3 o'clock Pacific. 6 o'clock
Right.
Eastern. And
Yeah.
our Monday meetings start at 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock Pacific. And that's why we didn't get to you.
Well,
But
that's because I just got here. But
that's
but
right.
meanwhile,
So give us a second.
and
Give
I know
us a
what time it
second.
is in Alaska when you tell me what time it is in California. But I was just kind of amused. The message, I thought I looked at the times, but Alaska doesn't make your list there.
No, Alaska isn't on our list. I'm afraid. Well,
No, it's
just
terrible.
bear with us a second, and your friend Dr. Alfredo is in the room. I see.
I saw him.
I see him. So hold on a minute, and we can come to you. Len has dropped off. I think we got to everybody else who wanted time at the beginning. So Dr. Bill will come to you. Let me just ask a couple of other people if they'd like time. I'm willing to hang in. Bruce Shrimp, Jeff Wood, did you want any time? No. Okay. Steve Lodge, did you want any time? Okay, he's not there to answer. Robert, did you need time? No.
No,
and Bob Faulkner, you have a choice. We can do an intake with you now, or you can come back on Monday and we will put you number 1 on the next Monday, which is August the 3rd, and we will put you top of the list. What would you prefer?
I'll come back on Monday.
Okay. Come on back on Monday. We don't have your email address, so if you want to pop that in the chat window, you'll get the reminder, or sign up directly. Okay.
Okay. All right.
And Dr. Bill, give us an update. What can we do for you this week?
I don't have any real needs, I don't think. I was asked to get certain things. I got some of them, and that my Decipher score to the 10th, I've got it. And what else? I'm trying to get the written path report and the op note for my surgery. And I don't think they're going to change anything at all. I've made an appointment to see a radiation oncologist, and my urologist agreed with that.
Okay, and are you getting the grid report for your Decipher score?
No, I don't know what the grid report is.
Yeah,
the other thing is that I don't think I said before, but my PSA is going up.
Right. So we talked about the grid report last week with you. It is a research-only report that is requested, that has to be requested by your urologist. And the reason it's important is because it's going to give us some insight onto some of the somatic gene mutations that you might be carrying without us getting a somatic analysis of your tumor. So,
well, when I saw him, I did not ask for that.
Okay, so I would ask, he probably doesn't even know it exists. So
he may not, because he said that, the Decipher, the way the Decipher report as I have it fits with the rest of the picture as we see it. So, but you're saying
yes, it does, but we need more information. So if we, God forbid, we had a guy last night who has a high in the low intermediate, because he's 4+3 and he isn't high risk, but he had a 0.94 or a 0.91, and he got his report, and it turns out he carries P10, and that's really important information. So we need to, the reason we're asking you to get it is because it will give an insight into the best type of treatment, and whether in fact you need to get a medical oncologist involved or not, because that could well be the case. we're not big fans of seeing people with high risk disease being managed by a urologist or even a radiation oncologist. But so if your urologist can order the grid report, which he can do, he has to order it directly from Decipher and give you a copy. We can help interpret that for you. And it may throw some light on what's driving your disease.
All right.
Okay. Anyone else? Mr. Shrimp, did you want time?
No, thank you.
Okay. All right. Well, I think everybody's happy. Anybody else, or can we call Mr. Monaco? You came in late, but you said you
No, I
didn't
sent
need
you a note, Rick.
time.
I don't need any time. I was just listening.
That's right. I saw your message. Thank you very much. In case you're wondering, especially the newbies, we used to have a 10-minute rule. We pulled it back to a 5-minute rule, but as you know, we can get 40 or 50 guys in this group. So if we don't have a cutoff at what time you have to be here, we have to, it can get a little unruly. So we say 5 minutes, and then if we've got the time at the end of the meeting, we do exactly what we're doing now, which was we give you the chance to speak up. So that's the story. All right. So if nobody else has anything, I'm going to call it a night. The next meeting is August 3rd, which I am supposed to be moderating, because I've been here on behalf of lastminute.com for a couple of times this month. And I see Bob Faulkner's. I'm just writing Bob Faulkner, and we'll get you there. Oh, I'll give a quick plug for those of you left. A very quick plug for Men Speaking Freely. There will be a meeting next week of Men Speaking Freely, so we encourage you all to come because that's a really fun meeting. Everybody loves that meeting. Most people say it's the best meeting that they attend at AnCan. But you can't talk about your disease. It's only to talk about anything else that's bothering you, which can be disease related, but we don't talk about treatment per se in that group. Right, Robert? You're a regular in that meeting, so you can testify for that meeting. All right. Oh, Bob Schwartz is in that meeting sometimes too. He can say. Oh, he isn't in that meeting. I thought he was. Oh no, he's in the vets meeting. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Mr. McPhee, are you in that meeting? Yes, you are sometimes. Want to say anything about that meeting? Why people like it?
Yeah, it deals with other things. And I guess one of the ones that my wife and I have talked about, just as an example, the last one that I was at, people talked about getting old and the fear of getting old and dealing with it and being told, oh, you're too old for that. You shouldn't be doing that. And it just doesn't apply. You know, I mean, you live your life. And I guess what we came up with was something from my grandson. And that was, you get what you get and you don't get upset. And so life gives it to you and just deal with it.
Right. Exactly.
I think that kind of, that's what goes on at that meeting. Just
Yes. We have some great discussions in that meeting. We really do have some great discussions. So we'll sign you up, Mr. Faulkner. I'll sign you up so you can see the invitation. But if anybody doesn't want to get a particular reminder, but they don't want to get off of AnCan altogether, Don't unsubscribe, because if you unsubscribe at the bottom of that email, it takes you off everything. So you have to go and to our contacts, and you have to just change your preferences. You can write to me or any of us, and we'll take care of it for you. And on that score, unless Alfredo, I'm going to stop the recording right now.